This is the Tadano ATF 70G4, and the 70 stands for the maximum capacity of 70 tonnes and the 4 stands for it being a 4-axle crane. This model comes in a standard Tadano branded box, but it is a limited edition commissioned by Heavy Transport Models, and it's in the colours of Kebag, the Swiss construction company. Straight out of the box there is one difference with this model compared to the one in Tadano colours, and that is that this one doesn't include an instruction manual. And that seems a bit of a pity given that one has already been printed. Out of the box the hook is already attached because the crane was reeved in the factory, and so there's not much to do to get the crane in road going configuration. All we need to do is to add the counterweight. And on this crane that can be carried in the middle of the carrier deck so that the load is spread across the 4 axles. And the other thing we can add is the extension boom. It rests on the side of the main boom and is secured in position with a steel pin. Once that's done, the crane is prepared and ready for the road. Starting underneath, the transmission is very detailed. The tyres have a good tread pattern and there's a fixed ladder at the front. The wheels are detailed well and the driving cab looks good with its mirrors, beacon light and graphics. Behind the cab the detailing is excellent with mesh grills and textured walkway surfaces. At the back the lights and graphics look good, but it would have looked better if there had been a number plate. The outrigger beams are metal and there are smooth faced pistons. The cab looks very good with its seals on the windows and a highly detailed interior. The counterweight is made up of separate pieces and there are nice graphics on the crane body. The handrails are fixed permanently in the transport position, but the boom ram is really good because it's got a metal jacket. The pulleys at the boom head are a single solid piece, but the hook is metal and it has separate pulleys. The extension boom is a metal lattice and it has a good profile. Starting underneath, and the functionality on the axles is good. Each one has got separately sprung suspension, and there's also steering on each of the axles. The range of movement is moderate, but all of the steering modes of the real crane can be set. Anyway, the poor old Kebag is fed up being upside down, so let's give it a run. And it moves okay in a straight line, and the suspension is certainly springy. With the steering set, the crane can turn in a reasonable turning circle, but it's always much more fun to confuse the hell out of people. So let's put on the crab steering and go from side to side. Enough of the sideways shift, we're on site now, so let's set the crane up and pull out the outrigger beams. The pads have a neat clipping system to store them for transport, and when you unhook that you can wind the pads down. And there are really tiny locking clips applied which are there to keep the pads centred under the piston. Those clips are very small, so you have to be careful not to lose them. And another nice touch is that there are plastic spreader plates which you can put under the outrigger pads. The beams are strong and the whole arrangement is good enough to be able to pose the crane wheels free. The next job for the giant fingers is to unhook the hook from its hooking point on the front of the cab, and then we're ready to raise the boom. This model is very good because it's got a metal hydraulic ram. You can secure it at any extension with a locking screw, and a special key is included to enable it to be locked and unlocked. This is a high quality piece of model engineering and it works very well. With the boom up, the real crane would then rotate around and pick up its own counterweight. But in the model world you can't quite do that because of the locking clips that stick up. So what we have to use is the multi-fingered hand crane to secure the counterweight into position. Let's have a look at a couple of neat features on the crane body. There's an opening cover at the front with plenty of detail to be seen underneath. And if we rotate the crane round and pretend we've got a finger now, we might be able to open up the side cover. Yeah, that's the way. And again, there's more interesting detail to be seen. This is a telescopic crane, so the sections pull out a bit like a telescope. And when they reach full extension, they have the usual locking clip system. Also included with the model is a dummy load, and that helps keep some tension on the hook. But the type of thread used on this model is not the best, because if you unwind enough of it, the whole world just goes into a complete spin. Overall though, with the boom fully extended, it's an impressive model. Let's get the tape out and see how big it is fully extended. and it reaches about 35 inches or 90 centimetres. But with the extension boom you've always got the opportunity to go large, so you can unfold it and then put a locking pin in place. And the next thing to do is then to de-rig the hook from the end of the boom. We can then add the extension boom onto the boom head, and then the connection eyes just overlap and you push in a couple of steel pins to lock it in place. With both pins in, the guide pulley can be opened up into position, and then the hoist rope can be threaded through and taken up to the top of the extension boom. Only one hook is supplied with the model and it's not the best for single line operation, so you have to bodge it a little bit to get it to hang properly. To complete the detail you can add the hoist cut-off chain, and that's best just hooked in at the top and then clipped on to the hoist rope. With the crane rigged you then have one more feature available, and that is you can offset the angle of the extension boom. The good thing is that the ram that's used for this is very stiff, so it will hold any angle that you want to set. The extension boom gives you some useful extra length, and it adds about 13 inches or 33 centimetres. This is another very good crane model by WSI, and the only disappointment is that the manual isn't included with this version. It goes well with other Keybag models, and the very good details and features means that overall it's an outstanding model.